everybody. Namaskar to everybody over here. Welcome to this lovely lecture. I am Professor Delnaz Jokhi from JG College of Commerce, Gujarat University. Today we are going to study a new chapter, that is limits of a function. If you, my dear student, is affiliated with Gujarat University, and if you are a student of BCom semester 3, then in the subject of statistics 3, the first unit is limits of a function. So let's begin seeing how we will be studying limits of a function. What I will be covering today in our lecture would be, first I would be discussing the essential concepts of functions with you, essential types of functions, concept of limit of a function would be followed by that, meaning of limit of a function, and rules of limit. Now, of what you see on your screen, the name of our chapter is limits of a function. Well, some of you might be thinking that functions were something that we had studied. Yes, you have studied a bit of this earlier, that's true. But today when we are going to focus on limits of a function, initially I will revise the concept of functions a little with you, so that what happens is you recollect and understanding limits becomes better with you. Let me tell you something. The points that I'm discussing with you today, my dear student, is very important from your exam point of view. In the exam at Gujarat University, in this particular chapter, often a theory question is asked. If you have a pen and paper, please note down. The theory question can be explain the term for 2 marks or 3 marks, or it can be a short note of 7 marks also. What would be the question asked in your exam? And that's important, right? The question would be either write a short note on limits and explain the rules of limit, or the same question can be twisted and asked to you as explain the concept of limit of a function by explaining the rules of limit. So we are beginning this new chapter, limits of a function. Initially, we shall be just going through the important points of function, which you already know, and then moving on to this actual chapter. So let's begin. As far as functions is concerned, let me ask you a simple question to understand what is a function. The thing which you see over there is in red color, price of a railway ticket. Now tell me, my dear students, something. The price of a railway ticket depends upon what? Well, there are many factors to which the price of a railway ticket depends on. Am I right or wrong? Yes. A railway ticket depends first and foremost from where you want to go where. That is the distance you are traveling. Then it also depends upon the class in which you are traveling. First class, second class, normal chair car, or what? Okay, so what is happening over here is the price of the railway ticket is a kind of having a relation with, is dependent upon several factors like the distance traveled and where and what class you are traveling in. So mathematically over here, if you see and if you remember a little, function was denoted by F. If you were in Gujarati medium in your 12th standard, फंक्शन को हम गुजराती में विधेय बोलते थे. अब थोड़ा याद आया? And the function is denoted by F. This F that you see over here is denoted by F. So mathematically, price is equal to, or price is a function of various things, and what things that we have discussed, the factors that we have discussed are distance traveled and the class of traveling. थोड़ा बहुत शायद समझ में आया होगा कि function क्या होता है. Let me give you one more example. You all love to see movies and you love to go to the theater. So tell me, the price of a movie ticket is a function, or rather depends upon certain factors. What are those factors? Movie tickets, if you go for the same movie, morning show, the ticket is less. The same movie, the night show, the ticket is more, right? If you buy a lounge seat, oh, it's expensive. If you buy a seat which is just near the screen, it's cheaper, but the movie remains the same. All right, so what you see on your screen, the prices of movie tickets is a function is denoted by F. Very good. Is a function of the timing of the show, the movie which you are going for, morning or evening or afternoon, and the category of the seat which you are buying. So I think you have understood what is a function. It's kind of having a relationship between the dependent and independent variables. So let's define a function very carefully, okay? If A and B are two non-empty sets, that means set A, Gujarati ma kahiye to gan A and gan B, all right? Non-empty sets, माने हर एक set A और set B के अंदर कुछ elements होने चाहिए, okay? So if A and B are two non-empty sets, and if हर एक member of set A is associated with one and only one member of set B. This is very important, okay? One and only one member of set B. That means each element of your set A must be uniquely associated with or have some relationship with one and only one member of set B. So this kind of a relationship or a correspondence between the set A and B elements is known as a function. And how is it denoted by? A function is F, that is denoted by A, that is your first set, to B, which is your second set, right? So my dear students, if you have a pen and paper, or if you remember, one thing I'm again repeating, very important, that each member of set A should be associated uniquely. You know, I have this thing, I keep on asking quizzes in between, and I'll make you write down the answers. So please be attentive in this lecture. In the quiz, all these small points which I ask you to write down will be asked. So each member of set A is uniquely associated with a member of set B, correct? So now, if you remember a little bit of your school, this set A is known as the domain. If you see on your screen, you see something in sea blue color over here, sea green color. Set A is known as the domain. And the domain, if you remember, is denoted by DF, domain of the function F. Very good. Set B is known as the codomain. Codomain starts with C, the alphabet C, and that is why a codomain is referred to as CF. I'm sure you have a good memory and remember the domain and the codomain. Now let me give you a very simple example, a very practical example. Let's say set A, which is your domain, consists of students like you. And set B consists of their roll numbers. Now what am I trying to tell you over here is, I told you that all the elements of set A must be, kaisa relation hona chahiye between the elements? Uniquely associated with one and only one element of set B, correct? So that is what I'm going to highlight through an illustration over here. Now see, in domain A, that is your DF set, you have 4 students, Mr. X, Miss Y, Miss Z, and Mr. D. And in your codomain set B, that is called CF, you have their roll numbers. How many roll numbers are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Look at those arrows. Mr. X. What is the roll number of Mr. X? Come on, quickly look at the arrow. Where's the arrow going from? Mr. X arrow is going from here to here. So what is the roll number of Mr. X? T234, right? Okay, come on. Tell me, what is the roll number of Ms. Z? All right, Miss Z, the arrow goes here, T178, correct, super. And the last one for you, Mr. D, what's the roll number? Come on, quickly. Yes, Mr. D, very good. The roll number is S232. So, Mr. X has only one roll number. Miss Y has also only one roll number. Same way with Miss Z and Mr. D. This is what I meant by saying that each element of the first set, set A, must have a unique answer, reflection, or unique relationship with the elements of set B. I think the illustration makes the thing very easy and clear to you. Fine. Now, same example, let's know some other important concepts of the functions only before we move on to limits. DF, as you know, is your domain. Your domain has how many elements? 1, 2, 3, and 4. They are the names of students like you. CF has how many elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But now, there is one element of your codomain. If you see, मैंने उसको red color में अलग कर दिया है. क्या लगता है? Out of the 5 elements, वो एक ही number F211 का जो roll number है, क्यों मैंने उसको red color कर दिया है? क्यों मैंने उसको अलग कर दिया है? Any idea? Yes. If you are thinking that, ma'am, out of all the students, there is only one roll number which is not associated with any student, right? There are only 4 elements in your domain. There are only 4 students. So, but naturally, 4 students will be having only 4 different roll numbers. The 5th roll number is extra. So, now I bring you to a very important concept which I'm sure you remember is known as the range. And range is denoted by RF. Range of the function. अगर आप गुजराती मीडियम में थे स्कूल में तो range को वो लोग विस्तार बोलते थे, right? Okay, so in this particular example of roll numbers of students, what is the range? The range consists of only 4 elements. And which are those 4 elements? F111, S232, T178 and T234. कौन सा element उसमें नहीं है range में? The one which I have put in front of you on the screen in a red color. So now if you remember, this range consists of only, if you go to see the reflections, it only consists of the images of the answers. Okay, so in simple words, if you have to remember, range में वही elements आते हैं जहाँ पे कोई answer होता है, जहाँ पे elements of set A का कोई reflection या image होता है. So that is why RF, the range of the function is, if you want to note this, please note this, it's important, fill in the blank. Range of the function is a subset of the coefficient, or rather the codomain of your function. So this point is very important, that RF is a subset of the CF or the CF itself. So in other words, the range of the function is a subset of the codomain of the function. Okay, so I think this much you have understood very clearly. Now quickly, since we are revising functions, you know that there are many types of functions, right? But as far as this BCom syllabus is concerned, there are 3 types of functions which we must touch upon so that our studying the limits becomes easier for you. So first one on your screen is linear functions, and the second one is quadratic function. Right? Now quickly in a nutshell, if you see over here that y is equal to ax plus b, ax plus b. What is the highest power of x over here? It's only 1, right? Come to the quadratic function. What is the general form for quadratic function? Y is equal to ax square plus bx plus c. I think you can see it over here in red color, right? It's very clear to you. Okay, so how do you know it's a linear function? What is the maximum power of x? 1. When the maximum power of x is 1 in this general form, look at the graph over here. The graph is of a straight line. Similarly, over here also the graph is also of a straight line. And let's come to the quadratic function. How is the graph of a quadratic function? If you see over here, the graph is something like this shape, and this is known as a parabola. So how will you know it's a quadratic function or a linear function? Simple. If the maximum power of your general form has the power 1 and it's a straight line, it's called a linear function. And if the maximum power of the function is a square, like you see on the screen, y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, and your graph is a parabola, it means it is a quadratic function. All right, as I said, there are many types of functions, but we are considering only 3 currently. And the third one is exponential function. Now, in the earlier 2 functions, what was happening was x was besides a, right? But over here, what happens is, what is an exponential function? Let's read. When the independent variable x occurs in the exponent, the function is called an exponential function. Okay, exponent माने देखिए e power x, x ऊपर चला गया, and y is equal to a power x. Now where is x? It is not with a as a multiple, but it has gone up as an exponent. Such type of a function where y is equal to e power x or y is equal to a power x is known as an exponential function. Superb. You can see the graph of an exponential function on your screen. If y is equal to 2 power x, then you can see the graph over here. It goes like this. This is an example of an exponential function graph, and some examples over here are there for you. Look at this: 2 power x, 3 power x, 0.5 power x, and 10 power x. All these are examples of a power x as an exponential function. And remember, E is a mathematical constant. I'll give you some extra information. This E is known as Euler's number. You can see the pointer over here, Euler's number. E is a fixed number. It's a constant, 2.7183 as an approximation. Okay, so E remains fixed number, but A raised to x में से A can take any number, my dear student. Please understand that. And the example that you see on your screen, 2 power x, 3 power x, 0.5 raised to power x, this 2, 3, and 0.5, and even the 10 over there that you see are the examples of a raised to x. So I think itna clear ho gaya. ध्यान देना, मैं quiz पूछने वाली हूँ. Remember, right? All right. So a अलग-अलग value ले सकता है, नहीं ले सकता है? ले सकता है. E raised to x, E अलग value नहीं ले सकता है. It is an Euler's number. It has a fixed number. I think the functions are now clear to you. So let's move ahead. You know that, or you've already done such types of sums. Let's suppose y is equal to fx. And what is your function? 2x plus 3. अब आपको इतना तो पता ही होगा कि if I take f0, what you see in pink over there, and if I substitute the value of that 0 in this x over here, तो मुझे function का आंसर क्या मिलेगा? As you see on your screen, 2 multiplied by 0 plus 3 will give me the answer equal to 3. So I think I'm sure you know that whatever is the value of x given to you, if you substitute that value of x in your function, then you will get some answer of your function. So clear? F1, what did I do? In the place of this x, I substituted 1. So 2 multiplied by 1 is 2 plus 3. 2 plus 3 gives me an answer of 5. Easy, right? याद आ गया, right? आपने ये पहले functions किया हुआ है. गुजराती में आप उसको विधेय बोलते थे. Great. If you have a small calci or if your brains are more smart, come on. F3. I give you 10 seconds. Come on, quickly calculate F3 for me. Substitute x as 3. Your time starts now. Quickly. Oh, good. That's nice. So 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. 6 plus 3 is equal to 9. I am sure F3 का आंसर आपको 9 आ ही गया होगा. You are too smart. Very good. So this was easy. You have remembered how to substitute the value in a function and you get the answer for that function. Okay. So for different values of x, you keep on substituting different values of x and you will go on getting the values of your function. Now let's see. Let's slowly we are moving on to the concept of limits. One more function I'm giving you. Fx is equal to, please write this down. I want you to please note this down in your notebooks. Fx is equal to, write down please. Fx is equal to x square minus 1 upon x minus 1. Right. Now, आप x की कोई भी value ले सकते हो, but I want you to find out for me f1. So what you're supposed to do is, please substitute the value of x as 1. जहाँ x है, substitute the value 1 for me and give me the answer. Come on, 5 seconds. It's easy. All right, fine. Now, what is the answer that you have got? Some of you might be saying, ma'am, answer to 0 hai. And 1 or 2 of you might be thinking, ma'am, answer 0 upon 0 hai. Kaise? Kuch aise. I told you, wherever there is x, please substitute 1 over there. So f1 is equal to 1 minus 1, that's a 0, upon 1 minus 1. So you get a 0 in the numerator and a 0 in the denominator also. I am sure some of you may not have done this calculation. Trust me, my dear student, if you have that calci near you somewhere, just type 0 divided by 0. आपको लग रहा होगा, मैम क्या calculate करने के लिए बोल रहे हो आप? 0 upon 0 का आंसर 0 ही होता है ना? करके तो देखिए, simple calculator होना चाहिए, simple calculator. Come on, calculate 0 upon 0 for me. Let's see what you get. Thank you for doing that calculation for me. Now see, on your calci, I think mostly on the right hand side, आपको 0 तो आ रहा होगा, but calculator के वो वाले left side के corner में देखो या कहीं पे भी screen पे देखो, आपको एक E दिखेगा. Yes, E on your simple calculator means an error. Yes, it means an error. When you substitute the value of x as 1, आपको 0 upon 0 आया. Calci आपको 0 तो दिखा रहा है, पर error दिखा रहा है. That means you cannot find out the value of your function. This function का answer x is equal to 1 substitute कर रहे हो, तो calci पे आपको exact answer नहीं आ रहा है, error आ रहा है. Exactly. This is the place from where the concept of limit begins. All right. So let's go ahead. Remember the sum you had. What was our sum? X squared minus 1 upon x minus 1. I'm sure you've written that down. Now, what was happening? That whenever we kept x is equal to 1, the form of the function became 0 upon 0. So the value of the function could not be found out. Okay, इसको हम बोलते हैं कि इसका कोई फॉर्म हमको डिटरमिन नहीं कर पा रहे थे. पर मैथ्स और स्टैट्स में we all are very smart, we have lovely statisticians and mathematicians. उन्होंने ये कहा कि चलो ठीक है, if by taking x is equal to 1 आपको अच्छा आंसर नहीं आ रहा है, तो look at the yellow thing over there I've highlighted for you. Take the values of x very near to 1. What do I mean by this? आपने x की वैल्यू क्या ली थी? 1 ली थी, ठीक है? Okay. Now, exactly equal to 1 से आपको आंसर आया कि नहीं आया? नहीं आया. आपको 0 upon 0 आया, which is not a valid answer. Right. So now we take the answer of x. X is a word. Very near to 1. अब very near की बात में क्या कर रही हूँ देखिए. f 1.1. f 0.99. Okay, fx x की जगह पर 1.01. fx x की जगह पर 1.001. व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, अगर आपके पास एक नंबर लाइन है, आपको पता है कि नंबर लाइन के राइट हैंड साइड पे अगर आप जाओगे तो नंबर्स बड़े होंगे, और अगर आप लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे जाओगे तो नंबर्स छोटे हो जाएंगे. सो आई एम इंक्रीजिंग द वैल्यू and decreasing the value of 1. Exactly 1 nahi liya, maine 1.1 liya. Now see what am I doing? I'm substituting this value of x which I have now taken as 1.1 in the function which you have written down. Kya tha function? X ka square, to 1.1 ka square minus 1 upon x minus 1. X की जगह पर I again substitute 1.1 minus 1. मैंने आपके लिए calculation तो कर दिया है on screen, but come on, if you have a calc, try it out. 1.1 स्क्वायर कीजिए, आपको आएगा approximately 1.21. 1.21 minus 1 upon 1.1 minus 1 which will give you 0.1. So न्यूमरेटर का कैलकुलेशन करोगे, आपको आया 0.21 rather 0.21, और डिनोमिनेटर का कैलकुलेशन आया 0.1. So come on, 0.21 upon 0.1. What is the answer of the function now? 2.1. देखिए, when you took the value of x as equal to 1, you did not get the answer. Your calc was saying error, right? But you slightly increased the value of 1 to 1.1, round up value 1.1. तो आपको आंसर आ गया फंक्शन का 2.1. Now let me go to the left hand side of the number line. Left hand side बने 1 के left hand side पे. So 0.99 approximately 1 ही है, but exactly 1 x की value अब नहीं है. Very good. So now in the function that you have, x की जगह पर what am I substituting? I am substituting 0.99. So 0.99 का square करो, उसमें से 1 को minus करो. So this is what you will get. 0.9801 minus 1. Obviously बड़ा number 1 है, तो minus 0.0199 is in your numerator. And what about denominator? Denominator was function में क्या था? It was x minus 1. So 0.99 minus 1 gives you minus 0.01. Minus minus plus. Very good. So if you divide minus 0.0199 with minus 0.01, देखिए आपका आंसर क्या आया? 1.99. फंक्शन का आंसर आया कि नहीं आया? Absolutely, you got the answer to your function. But again, x की वैल्यू 1 के आजू बाजू है, nearer to 1, और फंक्शन का आंसर is going nearer to number 2. Absolutely. So if you take x as 1.01, आंसर आ रहा है आपका 2.01. x की वैल्यू थोड़ी सी और बढ़ा दो 1.001, तो यहाँ पे fx और भी हो जाएगा 2 के आजू बाजू 2.001. So what is happening, my dear students? Over here, you have to understand that when the value of my fx is going, or rather, yes, x is going nearer to 1, the value of my function x is going nearer to 1 and the value of my function is going close to 2. Very good. I think itna aapko samajh mein aa gaya hai. Super. Now, since you're paying good attention, I will just give it extra information. Okay, और बहुत important है. Let's look at this number over here, 1.1. आपका exact number of x क्या था? 1. आपने यहाँ पे क्या लिया है? 1.1. Now, what is the difference between 1.1 and 1? The difference is 0.1. ये 0.1 जो difference है आपके exact value of x और 1 के बीच में is known as neighborhood. What is known as neighborhood? Okay, a simple question. इसकी बात करते हैं. fx 1.001. Okay, 1.001 और आपका x की actual value कितनी थी? 1 थी. So 1.001 minus 1 कितना होता है? नेबरहुड माइनस करने के बाद कितना है नेबरहुड? आपका नेबरहुड आया 0.001. ये नेबरहुड याद रखना. So when the neighborhood is the concept is clear, आपको अभी इस लेवल पे इतना ही जानना है कि आप जब x की वैल्यू किसी नंबर के पास ले जाते हो, हमारे एग्जाम्पल में 1, फंक्शन का आंसर भी किसी आंसर की ओर, किसी एक नंबर की ओर जा रहा है, और हमारे केस में fx is going nearer to, it's going close to, which number over there on your screen? Number 2. Absolutely, very good. So now let's read the screen. All that is in yellow. Let us read that first. हाँ, वो extra calculations आपको ऊपर देख रहे हैं. So now let's see. When the value of the function was calculated as x is equal to 1, आपको कुछ आंसर नहीं आया function का, right? But read the yellow now. By taking the values of x nearer to 1. कैसे nearer to 1? आपको पता चल गया. 0.99, 1.001, वो वाला, right? The value of the function, okay, was going nearer, was going close to which number? Number 2. Very good. So now let's read this something in light blue color. In calculus, the concept of taking the value of x very close to 1 in our sum, okay, is very important. Now let's read the green. The difference between the value of x, जो आपने लिया था, yeah, the 1.01, 1.001 difference, okay, and between the value of x and 1 is known as, yes, very good. मैंने आपको 2 मिनट पहले बोला था, that difference is known as neighborhood. Very good. So concept of neighborhood is in that green highlight over there. Very nice. You remember. Super. Let's read the pink now. By making this neighborhood close to 0, the value of the function is known as the limit of the function. So अगर थोड़ा थोड़ा समझ में आया है, don't worry, we'll see more examples, right? But ये जो example हमने लिया, उसमें function के सारे answers कौन से number के close जा रहे हैं थे? 2. So the limit of this function which we have used as an illustration is 2. Very good. I think you have understood. So now what you see on your screen is limit of a function. Limit को हम short में कैसे लिखते हैं? LIM. Okay, so now let's see the meaning of what do you mean by LIM, that is limit x arrow a. फिलहाल मैं arrow बोल रही हूँ, पर उसको actually हम arrow नहीं बोलते. It is known as tends to a. हमारे सम में x की value was going near to, was tending to number 1. Remember? Okay, a कोई भी number हो सकता है. So this is in a way I'm trying to give you the meaning of limit of a function. Okay, so now I'm trying to explain to you meaning of what you see in green. Limit LIM x tends to a, fx your function is equal to L. इसका मीनिंग मैं आपको बता रही हूँ ये क्या कहना चाहता है. Okay, come on, let's read together. It is easy. Let's read together. Suppose fx is a real function of a real variable x. By taking the value of the variable x very near to a, अब आपको पता चल गया है very near to का मतलब क्या हुआ, right? हमारा वो वाला example exactly 1 नहीं, 0.99, 1.001, बस वही. By taking the value of the variable x very near to some number a, कोई भी a कुछ भी number ले सकता है, 1, 2, 3, -3 कुछ भी ले सकता है, ठीक है? What happens is the value of your function answer goes very near to a fixed number L. हमारे सब में कौन सा नंबर था? फिक्स नंबर कौन सा था? L कौन सा था? 2 था. आंसर जो आ रहा था फंक्शन का उसकी हम बात कर रहे हैं, right? So it can be said that when x एरो ए नहीं बोलोगे अभी हम क्या बोलेंगे? टेक्निकल नाम क्या है उस एरो का, ग्रीन कलर वाले? इट इज x tends to a, fx tends to L. So now x tends to a, हम ये एरो की जगह पर क्या बोलेंगे? x tends to, x a की नजदीक जा रहा है. So x tends to a, fx tends to L. Very good. That's very nice. So that is what was the meaning of limit x tends to a, fx is equal to L. This was the meaning. I hope it is very clear to you. Now, you see some stars on your screen. Very interesting. Ma'am, कहाँ है? यहाँ पे कोई theory नहीं दिख रही है. Well, a very important theory. I told you, remember? 7 mark के लिए exam पूछी जाती है. Yes. Rules of limit. Okay. Now, since I'm virtually teaching you to make the rules very easy for you, हम थोड़ा matching करेंगे. You see two colors over here. You see blue color stars, दो जगह पर है, and you see red color stars, right? Okay. So when I'll be doing these rules with you, it will be done in a very interesting way. I want you to remember the theory. It's important for your exams, right? Okay. So rules of limit of a function, super important theory for your exams. Let's begin. All right. Now, if fx and gx, fx पहला फंक्शन है, gx कोई दूसरा फंक्शन है, दूसरा नाम ले लिया, आप hx भी नाम दे सकते हो, px भी नाम दे सकते हो, but let's go according to the textbook which you use. Okay, so fx is the first real function and gx is the second real function. Okay, and if limit x tends to a, fx is equal to L. Now see, the red star represents your first real function fx, उसकी लिमिट क्या है? L. आपको याद रखना पड़ेगा, right? ये तो easy था, ये हमने पहले भी देखा था. नया फंक्शन कौन सा इंट्रोड्यूस किया मैंने आपके लिए? gx. Absolutely correct. So limit x, arrow a नहीं बोलेंगे, क्या बोलेंगे? Tends to a. Very good. You also have a good memory. That's nice, my dear student. I'm proud of you. Limit x tends to a, gx is equal to m. Okay? So gx की जो लिमिट होगी, उसको हमने नाम दिया है m, छोटा वाला m, and m is represented by a blue color star. Very good. fx का जो फंक्शन था, okay, उस फंक्शन के लिमिट को हमने क्या नाम पहले भी दिया था? L, and L is represented by a red color star. Now, whenever you talk about the limits of a function, okay, basically जो rules होते हैं, वो चार चीजों के लिए होते हैं. As you see, the rules are regarding the limits of addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Okay, so कितने rules है officially? Officially 3. आप सोचेंगे मैम 4 बोला और 3 कैसे हो गया? Well, rule of plus and minus is taken in the first rule. Subtraction becomes included in the first rule. Multiplication becomes the second rule and division becomes the third rule. तो हम addition subtraction साथ में ले रहे हैं, as you see on your screen. Rule number 1. Let's read it first and then see the color coding. Things will become easy for you. The limit of sum or difference of two functions is equal to the sum or difference of their limits. अभी तो theory हो गई, उसको थोड़ा ध्यान से देखते हैं. Look over here. Limit x tends to a, curly bracket, fx plus or minus gx. तो ये क्या था? The limit of sum माने plus और difference माने minus of two functions. Functions कौन से थे? fx and gx is equal to what? Is equal to the sum or difference माने plus या minus of their limits. याद है वो red star ऊपर देखिए, fx की लिमिट क्या थी? L. Very good. gx की लिमिट क्या थी? M. Super. So that is why fx plus or minus gx का जब लिमिट लेते हो x tends to a से, then the rule says it is equal to L plus M. I think you understood a little. Okay, so addition or subtraction हो गया rule number 1. Moving on to rule number 2 and 3. We are going to almost end our lecture, तो ध्यान देना थोड़ा सा और. Yeah, again those stars are there, you know what to do. All right, so rules of limit of a function, very important question what we're discussing. Rule number 2, rules of multiplication. अब multiplication आपको पता है हम उसको product बोलते हैं, multiplication, right? Okay, so the limit of the product माने multiplication of two functions is the product of their limits. देखिए वापस, limit x tends to a कोई भी नंबर हो सकता है, curly bracket, fx पहला फंक्शन, multiplication क्यों हम प्रोडक्ट की बात कर रहे हैं माने multiplication की बात कर रहे हैं, gx, okay, close the curly bracket, is equal to the product of their limits माने L. कौन सी लिमिट थी? रेड वाला कौन था? fx का लिमिट था. वेरी गुड. मल्टीप्लाइड बाय, देखो प्लस माइनस नहीं है, मल्टीप्लीकेशन आ गया, मल्टीप्लाइड बाय m and m is the limit of gx. Super. So I think now it is clear to you. Oops, division is left. Okay, rule of division. Now if the limit of the denominator is not 0. याद नीचे 0 आता है, न्यूमरेटर में कोई नंबर है और डिनोमिनेटर में 0 आ जाता है तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है थोड़ा सा, right? So in the rule of division, please understand that the limit of the quotient, नीचे, okay? So quotient माने न्यूमरेटर में कुछ फंक्शन है, डिनोमिनेटर में कुछ फंक्शन है, right? The limit of the quotient of two functions is equal to the quotient of their limits. Quotient का मतलब कुछ नहीं, numerator में you have fx, denominator में you have gx. So this is also known as the rule of division बोलो या rule of quotient बोलो, चलेगा. In BCom level we call it rule of division, right? So now it's easy. Limit x tends to a, अगर fx numerator में है, gx denominator में है, so that is equal to what? Remember, the limit of function fx was L. Remember the red color? Yes. And gx का function का limit क्या था? M. And but one thing, as I told you, that यहाँ पे m की value 0 नहीं होनी चाहिए. All right, my dear students. So we have ended a very important theory asked in your exams. Rules of limits क्या थे? प्लस माइनस का पहला रूल, मल्टीप्लिकेशन का दूसरा रूल और डिवीजन का तीसरा. only 3 rules to remember. Okay? Now, अगर आप डेलनाज़ मैम के साथ पढ़ रहे हो कोई भी चैप्टर, तो I would love to know कि आपको सही में कितना समझ में आया, how attentive you are. So there's a simple quiz coming up for you. Get your paper and pen and your calci in case you need it. So I'm starting with the quiz right now on your screen. All right. Now, question number 1, I will tell you. But सबसे पहले, you can see set A on your screen, right? And set B on your screen. Set A are names of students like you. Okay, कितने students हैं? P, D, S, V और K. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 elements in your domain. याद आया कुछ? Very good. And set B is the name of the college in which that particular student is studying. ठीक है? P कौन सी college में जाता है? Goes to X. ठीक है? Now I can ask you, S कौन सी college में जाता है? X. Correct. So two friends going to the same college is absolutely fine. Am I right or wrong? Right. Good. So the question is this, that you have set A as the domain and set B as the codomain. Is there a complete, proper, functional relationship between set A and B? Yes or no? Is the relationship between set A and B proper? Can I call it a function? Yes or no? Think. I give you 10 seconds and write down your answer in yes or no. All right, time is up. And your answer has to be, yes, it is a valid function. Your answer is yes. Can I say yes? As I told you, if you remember the very first initial slides, that each element of set A must be uniquely associated, must have only one reflection, must have only one fixed answer in set B, which is your codomain. So absolutely, Mr. P and Miss S, they both can go to the same college, no problem. P goes to one college, that is X. D goes to another college called Y. S goes to college X. V goes to some college Z. And K goes to some college Y. So yes, this is a good example of a function showing the relationship between the name of the student and the college in which he or she goes. So each student only registered in one college. So yes, this is a valid function. So the answer was yes, and I'm sure, yes, you have got the answer correct. Good. Question number 2 on your screens now. All right. If a function, this is very easy, come on. If a function in general is denoted by f, then the short name, I'm asking you the short name of a limit is dash. 5 seconds, write down your answer. Time up. Absolutely correct. Some of you must have said LIM. Yes. If function in general is denoted by f, then the short name of limit is LIM. Super, very nice. And what was L? L was the fixed numerical number, correct? Okay, the last question on your screen now. If y is equal to fx is equal to 9x square plus 5x plus 2, then it is an example of dash type of function. Which type of function? You have 5 seconds. Write down your answer. All right. It is 9x squared. Remember I told you when the highest power of your independent variable x is 2, it is known as a quadratic function. I'm sure you remember that. Okay, so the answer over here is an example of a quadratic type of a function. I hope you enjoyed the small quiz with me. I'm sure quizzing is a superb way of revising what you did with me in this particular lecture. All right, so now that bird flies away. Fine, I'm also going to fly away in a few seconds now. So what are the points that we discussed today, my dear students? First of all, we saw the various essential concepts of functions. Remember DF, CF, RF, range, wo wala. And yes, range is a subset of the codomain or the codomain itself. ये आपको याद रखना है और मुझे एक quiz में पूछना था. No problem. Essential types of a function, we saw that linear, quadratic, and exponential. बहुत सारे हैं, पर हमने ये 3 revise किए. Great. Then we saw the concept of limit of a function, followed by the meaning of a limit of a function. Here मैंने आपको क्या बताया? X arrow A हम नहीं बोलेंगे, X tends to A बोलेंगे, right? And if fx is your function and L is X tends to A, the limit is equal to some number L. That was the definition of it. Then we saw the rules. Oh, the rules I'm sure are very clear in your mind. First rule कौन सा था? Plus and minus का. Very good. Second rule कौन सा था? Product, multiplication का. और third rule कौन सा था? Division का. Very nice. I'm so happy. Thank you very much, my dear student. I hope you understood my lecture quite well today. Am I right? All right. So, in the next lecture, what we will be doing is, we'll be starting with the important sums and all those things of this chapter, limits of a function. So, till then, my dear student, happy learning. Thank you. God bless. Bye-bye.